The e-commerce business across the globe has been transformed to an intrinsic value-driven entity with the advent of the retail online industry. Groups like Amazon in the United States of America and Alibaba of China have unleashed enormous potentials in the online retail business. Nigeria has also witnessed the emergence of a dynamic and innovative online retail brand, Konga, who are also owners of Deal Day. In this presentation at the FBN SME Connect conference, the CEO of Konga, Mr. Sim Shagaya, shares further insight on the business model of Nigeria's Amazon.
So Konga is my third business in Nigeria over the course of about 7 years, and I just sought to build a business, and here I am speaking to all you great people about the work I'm doing, and that's of course gives one a lot of joy. I also like the fact that the discussion today has been very holistic. It's been great listening to Mrs. Awoshika. Your passion and just your holistic knowledge of Nigeria has been good. And just hearing everybody talk not just about finance, but also about culture and things like people, because these are the things that matter above and beyond money. So, you know, we're an SME, although by Mrs. Awoshika's table, we're 300 people now, so we classify as a large company, I guess. We're a young company. The average age at Konga is I think about 26 years old. So we're a very young company for the standards of the business. I'm kind of the old daddy. You know, we've come a long way, learning a lot of things that just didn't exist in Nigeria. So I'm going to tell you a bit about Konga as an SME, and then give you a sense of what we are doing for SMEs, and then also try and provide some context or some advice of what's worked for me. There are no easy roads in this life. There's no single truth. I can only tell you what's worked for me, and then you can accept it as you wish. I'm really at this point talking mostly to the SMEs themselves here, not the fine bankers in front. I find that it's easier to talk to to co-entrepreneurs because we speak the same language. Okay, so Konga. So we're about a year and a half old now. E-commerce is old. It's about 20 years now, but it's still roaring. Even in the United States, Amazon, which is about 18 years old, is growing at about 25%, 30% year on year after about 20 years, and that's amazing. I had seen this thing sort of transform the United States. I had the benefit of going to school in the United States. My parents were able to pull the resources together to send me. I'd initially been in the University of Lagos, and this was during the Abacha years, and things fell apart. So I kind of took off, and I saw this business take off. And I had watched that model for a while. But even as you watched it, you started to see something, that its impact was going to be worldwide. And that its impact in some parts of the world, I suspected this for a while, and we're seeing it now, the impact of e-commerce in some parts of the world would be more pronounced than in other parts of the world, and that's already happening also. I mean, what do we believe? You know, business people in Nigeria have gained a bit of a bad reputation, business people around the world, I think. And I think it's unfair, because I think ultimately commerce and business is the most redemptive force for any society. It's not government, it's not any other bodies, it's the SMEs, the people sitting here, and the business people that make it happen. I think the reason that business has gained such a bad reputation is because it's become so associated with rent-seeking in Nigeria and agency businesses. People who just stand in the door and say, I won't let you pass if you don't give me this. But at the end of the day, we are the ones that are really building this business, and I think commerce is a redemptive part of that. So Konga is building an engine for commerce. We think e-commerce is going to be like a utility, like electricity, like water in future, and that most Nigerians will use this platform, and we've taken it upon ourselves to build out this platform. Success is not guaranteed, but we're seeing some really good signs, and I'll try and share some of them with you. So what drives us? Our hero, my personal hero, is this gentleman called Jaja of Opobo, who lived just a few years before this great bank, First Bank, was founded. I think between the time that this man lived and now, we've forgotten who we are as a people. And I think fundamentally, we are people of commerce. I'm willing to bet that not just in Africa, but anywhere in the world, there are no people for whom commerce flows through their blood like Nigerians. I see it, I know it, I recognize it, and I see it in the life of this man who was born an Igbo slave, sold into slavery, but over the years grew himself to the house of the leading palm oil exporting entity in Nigeria at the time. Amazing story. And those are the kind of stories we need to start seeing coming out of here again and again. So Jaja grew this business, despite the most incredible odds, got so large at one point that he was exporting palm oil directly to Liverpool and attempting to refine. And that, of course, was the point where the British consul said, no, this is where we draw the line, no, this is where you stop. And then all hell broke loose, and the next thing you know, the guy was imprisoned in the Caribbean. But he is an inspiration to us. He symbolizes commerce. This is what we do. When you walk the streets of Lagos every day, and you see somebody pushing a truck, you know, Konga has investors, and they are from Sweden and South Africa primarily, in addition to ourselves, the management of the company. And they come down sometimes for the board meetings, and we're driving them from the airport, and they just marvel at how one person is able to push a truck in 90 degree weather and humidity, not tiring. How one woman can stand under an umbrella selling scratch cards, and at the end of the day, she will net 10,000 naira. But she just keeps pushing and pushing. It's not an energy you find anywhere else, and it's something that we take for granted. But it is not typical, I promise you. I've had the opportunity to travel around, not just in Africa, but around the world, and I can tell you the energy you see in this country is not typical. But because of the context and the environment, all that energy has been put into corruption, into internet fraud, into all of these other problems by a few people who really, if the environment just worked well, they would be doing other things. They wouldn't be doing what they're doing. So, we have to resurrect the spirit of Jaja. And how do we do that? This is my North Star. There's a writer called Ben Okri, wonderful writer. And you know, I enjoy reading. After all of the stresses of the day, you take some time and you read. And Ben Okri has a poem that he wrote called Lines in Potensis. And for me, even when things have seemed bleak and very difficult, I read this poem. My first business was a business called Emotion Advertising. I had this idea, these digital billboards you see everywhere here now. We were pretty much the first ones to bring these things to Nigeria. We bought a very small one, took it to Abuja, and you know, we're building it there, myself and just a couple of colleagues building the billboard. And then some agency called the Abuja Environmental Protection Agency showed up and asked us for an environmental license or something, which was not needed. You know, and the next thing you know, I'm getting thrown in the back of a pickup truck with handcuffs on my, all I was trying to do is invest in my country, right? And I'm getting thrown in the back of a pickup truck and getting taken to environmental jail. And I remember at the time that I had Ben Okri's this poem on my phone. And it's always sort of provided sort of a North Star for me, a guiding North Star. And these lines in particular tell everyone that the idea is to function together as good musicians would. Now let the energy of commerce flow, and technology will provide the tools. Now that last line is very instructive. We don't understand how really, by being late to this party, by letting the world, by letting Germany, China, the United States, everybody run so far ahead, this curse of being last is actually about to turn into a blessing in a big way.